With Blake Snell on the shelf, there's one pitcher who's at least on a path to return to the Dodgers. USC's basketball rebuild undergoes a no good, very bad day, and the Rams bring back a linebacker. Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It's April 11th, 2025. By the time you see this clip, it'll be wheels up, and I'll be heading back home for a weekend with people who I think love me. I think. But in the meantime, let's talk LA sports. And if you'd like being in the know about LA, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Kings 6, Anaheim 1. Meanwhile, today, the Chicago Cubs are going to be at the Dodgers at 7 o'clock. Houston at the Lakers at 7:30, and the Clippers at Sacramento at 7. What do you say we get to the news? If the Washington series established anything, it's that not just anybody with a functioning elbow wearing a Dodger jersey should be able to take them out. Wouldn't you say? I mean, there's no guarantee the Dodgers got that memo, but I think anybody who watched that series sure as hell did. I mean, the Dodgers, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on pitching in the hope that maybe more than 1.5 guys will be healthy for the playoffs. So since they're not getting the idea that maybe it's a good idea to have them last a while, we're left to wonder when other injured starting pitchers will be ready to come back. So Tony Gonsolin, former All-Star, formerly with hair, threw 46 pitches for Oklahoma City on Wednesday. Now, 34 of those pitches were strikes. He only allowed an unearned run and a hit with 7 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings. Now look, this does not mean his return is imminent. Dave Roberts said he wants Gonsolin to be able to go 5 innings before that discussion can take place. But at least there's somebody on the periphery. Speaking about players who should be coming back today, Hunter Fiducia has been optioned back to AAA, which is a big indicator about the potential return of Freddie Freeman in time for tonight's game. Also with the Dodgers, as longtime viewers know, one of the purposes of this little program is to shoot down pointless trade rumors, because they're never true. It's the cheapest of clickbait. There's literally no difference to me between Bleacher Report and Pornhub. We deal with reality on this channel. So, we're only 2 weeks into the season, and some idiot named TJ French is predicting that the Dodgers will trade for Toronto shortstop Bo Bichette. To which we could all say, again? No sources whatsoever. And by the way, this scorching hot, soaking wet, steamy pile of trade rumor has been going on for 3 years. I've even gotten into arguments with Dodger bloggers over it. So yeah, once again, when this comes up, it's been 3 years, no smoke, no fire, all turd. It's not just USC basketball that gets the rug pulled out from, or I should say, it's not just USC football that gets the rug pulled out from under them in the transfer portal. Former Georgetown transfer Drew Fielder is the latest among a growing list of men who go back on their word. And instead, he's going to rug pull USC basketball. He's going to Boise State instead. This was the crown jewel of a trash-tacular day for Eric Musselman. 4-star recruit LZ Harrington also decommitted for playing for USC. Now, that one, Harrington, I don't want to take too much issue with. Harrington is a small forward from St. John Bosco. Translation, he's a kid, and he shouldn't know any better. Fielder, though, is a man, and by the time you reach adulthood, you may not have all of the man laws committed to memory, right? But keeping your word is a must. Fielder, meanwhile, he's going to move to the land of potatoes and white flight. Now, that still leads to a problem for the Trojans. Obviously, SC would rather have him buy because they need a starting center. They're still taller than they were last year. They still have Jacob Kofi coming in. Make no mistake, it stings. It also shouldn't have happened. The guy chose Boise State. And speaking of players leaving USC, Wesley Yates, who was the second leading scorer for the Trojans last year, has decided to transfer back to Washington. Now, if I were to guess, part of the reason is because he was looking for his third team in as many years. There might not have been that many takers in a Power 4 conference. Look, he's returning to the Huskies, which was a team that was demonstrably worse than USC was last year. And that is the downside when you are a player jumping schools year after year. At some point, coaches just don't trust you.
That's true. I agree with you.
Linebacker Troy Reeder is returning to the Rams on a one-year deal. The guy missed much of last season with a hamstring injury, which was all the opportunity Omar Speights needed as a rookie. Now, Reeder is still useful. He had 46 tackles in just 6 games for the Rams last year. Before I go to the next story about the LA teams in the NFL, take note of the following. Both Troy Reeder and Speights were undrafted players who became starters with the Rams. Now, why does that matter? Because we're less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. Now, you may already know that on this show, we do not analyze mock drafts. It's for the same reason that we don't hype unsourced trade proposals. Reality is a thing. Reality always wins. You can't avoid reality no matter how much you spend on hallucinogens. So what I'm reading now is ESPN's alleged intel about the NFL draft, and they only got it half right. Where they get it wrong, where almost all the scribes are getting it wrong, is with the LA Rams. For example, a rival scout told ESPN, don't expect the Rams to trade because, quote, they need young bodies, unquote. Young bodies? The Rams were the 3rd youngest team in the NFL last year. They don't need young bodies. Then ESPN, they're arguing that the Rams need cornerbacks, linebackers, an offensive tackle, and maybe they invest in the quarterback of the future. None of this goes with how the Rams look at drafting. None of it. We've already established in the prior note that the Rams don't invest in linebackers. Speights, Reeder, undrafted. So they're not going to spend a high pick on a linebacker. We also know that the Rams trade for elite cornerbacks, i.e. Jalen Ramsey, but drafting corners, they wait late in the draft. So this all leads back to my thesis. The Rams are not staying at 26. General manager Les Snead, he looks at late first-round picks the same way that you should look at OnlyFans models who claim that they're looking for a good man. Absolutely with nothing but suspicion. If the Rams stay at 26, maybe they do in fact go with a right tackle. But if Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart is available, don't be surprised if the Rams trade anyway. Because if Dart is available, suddenly that pick becomes super duper valuable. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean ESPN was completely wrong about everything. Oh, they were wrong about the Rams, but they were on target with the Chargers. They looked at the Chargers draft plans, different reporters covering the Chargers, and they asked the right question. It's not, what do I think the team needs? It's, what does Jim Harbaugh value? Because Harbaugh may be a former quarterback, but that dude really values tough guys on the line. Either line, the tougher, the better. It's like on the Statue of Liberty, it says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Jim Harbaugh says, give me your buff, your violent, your savages yearning for a bar fight. That's the guys that he wants. And he has no problem spending first-round picks on it. Look at Joe Alt. So there are dozens of mock drafts out there claiming that the Chargers will go for a wide receiver. These are the same idiots who thought the Bolts would do that last year. Wrong, wrong, wrong. So a different writer for ESPN correctly deduced that the trenches are always going to be an emphasis for General Manager Joe Ortiz and Coach Harbaugh. The belief is that they're going to go for the best defensive tackle early because that will help offset the loss of Poona Ford. Finally, former LA Galaxy goalkeeper Jonathan Bond is returning to the United States. He'll be playing for the Houston Dynamo in MLS. Would you let me know what you think in the comments thread? Talk to me, for example, about the idea of Tony Gonsolin returning maybe in less than a month, maybe? Or for that matter, what is the state of USC basketball amidst all this turmoil? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day, including with randos, which makes life just that much more fresh. Thanks for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.